we are at the fag end of the 5-day IFA Congress. It is a 6-day one, but the last day of the technical sessions. It's been a wonderful time for all of us. With me to recap, how it's been for the last 4-5 days. The people who put this together, the people who've taken all the stress, the people who made this a grand success, Pranav Sayta and TP Ostwal, the organizing committee co-chairs of the IFA Congress in Mumbai, and of course to tell us more on what happened in those technical sessions over the last 4 days, Shefali Goradia of BMR. Shefali has been literally the editor-in-large of our Congress coverage, and she's also been a general reporter for the Congress as well for one of the sessions. I'll come with you, Ostwalji. 2 years of preparation went into putting this together. Happy with the way it went?
Yes, I agree with you that the preparatory activity takes longer time, but the conference is only for the same time, 5 days. And it has been quite successful in terms of the technical contents, the administration of the conference. Nothing went wrong and everything was right. So therefore good news is the conference has been successful. In terms of our registration delegates, we never thought that we will achieve this much. We have crossed that limit. 16 plus, 1650 plus. And therefore, in my opinion, we have done reasonably good efforts to ensure that the Congress was successful, and it has become successful.
Back in India after 17 years, Pranav, must have been a challenge putting this all together.
Yeah, it was a challenge, but it was lots of fun. We had a lot of responsibility on our shoulders. We wanted to ensure that India comes up in good light, and I hope we have done justice to the country. And the delegates are extremely happy, and so are the accompanying persons, which is what gives us a lot of happiness as well.
What to both of you was the highlight of the Congress, both in terms of the technical content and the non-technical, so much of non-technical participation?
I think the technical sessions were just absolutely wonderful. The kind of
Your favorite?
Enrichment that has happened amongst the delegates has been tremendous. There have been different sessions which have been appreciated by various delegates. I think both the main reports, main subjects were fantastic. The IFA OECD seminar was extraordinarily good as well. So I think all in all it was wonderful technical stuff. In terms of the evenings, I think the cultural evening, the musical program, the Bollywood session in the opening was all really well.
The Indian touch.
Absolutely. So I think very much through the whole conference, the evenings as well as the food, as well as all the hospitality, the Indianness was very much evident.
I was coming to that, Ostwalji. I think you always harped on the Indian touch, the hospital, the Indian warmth.
Not only the Indian touch in hospitality, everything was Indian. You look at the subjects which were directly relevant to the India, directly, because like BPO taxation, like characterization issues which are live and kicking. And then you see the hospitality. We had a starting with a Bollywood show, and the cultural evening was a classical music. And one of the president of IFA and the organizing committee chairman of US branch said it was so outstanding that in last 30 years I have not seen such a vibrant IFA programs. And I think the lesson from this IFA has to take is that the future IFA Congress organizers should take a lesson and make the congresses so vibrant. Otherwise it's a dull affair most of the times.
Shefali, coming to the technical part of it, you've been there almost for all the sessions. What for you were the highlights, the key takeaways?
So Arun, before I do that, I must congratulate the IFA organization committee. I think they've done a fantastic job of putting up such a great conference, and it's a pride and honor for all of us that they've managed to pull through this very successfully. So my congratulations to Pranav, TP, Sushil and their entire team who supported them in this endeavor. For the technical sessions, as TP mentioned, yes, definitely the feedback that we are hearing on the scientific topics has been very good. And many felt that since the outsourcing and the intangibles, these are so much relevant topics for today that many of them could relate to these topics far more than ever before. Also, some of the developments shared by the OECD office bearers or the members of the task force who are working on these initiatives, that was very helpful. And we heard some latest breaking news, between yesterday and today UN is likely to introduce new model on the other taxation of services. We also heard about the Irish government coming out and saying that they will put an end to the double Irish structures. Now, these are some very large takeaways from this event.
As an Indian tax advisor, when we are a part of such global conferences, you heard so many people from the UN, from the OECD, tax professionals from cutting across continents. How is the perspective different, and is there any issue on which your view changed after listening to them, or probably a new perspective emerged?
No, so the most, the benefit that I see the most from these conferences is always that, India has its own position, but when you hear the perspectives put out by the other countries, that really opens up your mind. And not just for us as tax professionals, but also the tax administrators and the revenue officers. When they see how different governments are putting out their viewpoints, I'm sure it's a great learning for all of us. So clearly on the technical topics, as well as on just the sheer interaction with the people who are the torch bearers of the cutting edge developments on the tax policy side from the other countries, is a big takeaway from the conference.
Ostwal judges seminar. I think that session was back after many years. I think it's a big thing.
After 10 years, 2004, I think the moral of the story is now such session really attracts the people, and a lot of people come to know what are the trend judges would like to keep in
Very
mind.
interesting to hear them talking about tax treaty override, Vienna Convention.
That's exactly, I think this is the practical way of making people understand how the judiciaries view the topics.
We are judges from 5-6 countries.
Yes, all the Supreme Courts and one High Court. So there was nothing wrong, and they are sitting judges. They are not the retired judges. And
any takeaways on continuing from where TB left off, that do we need to see as we go along in these congresses a much more of a bent inclination towards these practical oriented sessions like the judges one?
Oh, absolutely. If we want to make these seminars and conferences more relevant to the practicing individuals as well as corporates, it has to be a very practical orientation. And I think the topics selected here are very hand-picked, and they've generally been very well appreciated, including the judges seminar, the intangibles one, even the taxation and non-tax treaties. I mean, these are topics which are highly relevant in today's environment, more so in India, in fact. So I am very, very pleased with all the topics and the way the discussions have progressed.
Oswalji, you would have liked to see more participation from India, you thought?
it would have been better, those who want to take advantage. You see, it is like Ganga coming...
Or let me flip the question around. Mukesh was a bit disappointed with the Indian response, but I would put it the other way. Do you think that Indian tax professionals still do not see as much of a value, or maybe they are not yet alive to...
No, I don't agree, but it's quality that matters, not the quantity. Those people who are in terms of genuinely international tax practitioners, by and large they are here. And this is upcoming professionals that they should learn a lesson out of.
In fact, I was asking the other way around, that your advice, to the Indian tax practitioners, and how you probably attended the first Congress and from there so far. So I am seeing a lot of young chartered accountants who are attending the.
Let me tell you, I am one of those non-Big Four person from beginning. And I came hard way, the way I have understood the taxation, international taxation. And I started the practice of international taxation in 1986 when nobody knew this international taxation in India. And I started attending these conferences, and from that I learned a lot.
When did you attend your first conference?
89. So therefore, it is the Congress which has given me a lot of innovative ideas. And today also I feel that as long as I am in a position to walk, I should be attending these congresses.
Pranav, what would be your advice? There's so many young chartered accountants who will watch this. The reason why you've been attending these congresses for many years, you're part of you're part of one of the key committees of the PSE, of the permanent scientific committees. What sort of value do you think they'll derive by attending these conferences? A word of advice from the young tax professionals.
I think it opens up new horizons, the kind of perspectives that one gets across jurisdictions, across different subjects, across different stakeholders, from academics, judges, revenue officials from around the world, tax corporates from around the world and so on. So the kind of perspectives that one gets opens up new horizons. I would only feel that while I appreciate India is a very price sensitive market, and it's not very easy for young professionals in India to spare this kind of funds, including the travel cost and stay cost for those who are not from Bombay. So I do appreciate that those
But it's
challenges.
value for buck.
But I think it's value for money, and most important, I think as a mindset, we need to start investing in ourselves, and that's what this Congress is all about. If one invests in oneself by attending these, there can be tremendous value addition that happens to that individual.
In fact, we have one of our senior tax professionals, Vadvaji, here. Vadvaji, enjoyed the conference?
Oh yes, very much so. We thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very informative, useful, both academically, professionally, as well as we have enjoyed our stay here for the excellent arrangements made by the organizers.
Shefali, your favorite, I must ask you to pick one session which was your favorite. And why?
Cross-border outsourcing.
Oh, yeah. That was conflicted, you're part of it.
No, also I think I just like the topic a lot more because it is not just academic. It talks about a lot of practical aspects. And of course, apart from reporting what all the countries are doing in terms of addressing their issues around the structures and the tax controversies, it also discussed a few strategies around, how are the companies dealing with these issues in those jurisdictions.
Shefali, you are a general reporter for this topic, and if you could just explain to a lot of tax professionals watching this, what is the work that goes around once you become a general reporter, and how was the experience like for you?
So it is not an easy task, but again, I had the honor and privilege, to be a joint reporter along with Pinakin Desai. And both his team as well as my team, they gave us a phenomenal support in going through the entire process. We had to write up the brief for all the country reporters. We even went back and requested IFA for specific country reports from the countries that were relevant for outsourcing. Unfortunately, there are countries like China and Philippines where did not, because of the language concerns, we could not get the local reporters. So we couldn't get those country reports. But start right from conceptualizing what should go into the report, what domestic law provisions should be talked about, how the different problems should be posed. So we designed almost everything. And of course, studying those country reports, interacting with the different country reporters in trying to explain what we wanted them to bring out in the reports. And then after all of that, analyzing and then documenting in the general report. So it was a huge task, but very, very satisfying.
12 months of work?
More than that.
Oh.
Yeah. But I think it was because of our team supports, both from my side as well as Pinakin Bhai's side, that we were able to pull this through.
Let me tell you, this is the first ever an opportunity that Indian general reporters are being picked up for writing a paper, and they have done a splendid job, better than even foreigners. Let me congratulate them. And the first time in IFA's history, 68 years history. So therefore, Shefali and Pinakin deserve special compliments.
Better than anybody else, but we did our best.
Great job, no doubt. Pranav, any reason, I want to ask you a specific question on this general reporter point that Shefali mentioned, Ostwal ji mentioned. You see all the academic prizes where you don't see even Indian entries for the research, if I'm not wrong. You don't see much. Any reason why in India, despite having so many tax professionals, probably on par with any other country in the world or more than most, there is lack of academic research? And probably the tax academy that we are inaugurating, the dream of all of you all, and especially late Shri O.P. Vash, which we are inaugurating I think in a couple of days, you think that will probably give that momentum to the research in the field of international taxation in India?
Oh, absolutely. So we have had a very short stint at international tax, if I might say so. It really took off maybe 15, 20 years ago. We still do not have a university dealing with international tax, the way many of these countries have. We do not have academics, scholars, senior persons who really are into academics and research. So there will be a little time lag, but with the International Fiscal Association's academy that has been already set up, I think it will be receiving a huge fillip. and youngsters are extremely talented in this country. I have absolutely no doubt that it's a matter of time before we see research papers of top class quality from Indians.
It's quite inspiring, isn't it, Ostwalji, when you see youngsters walking up to receive prizes named after legendary tax professionals?
No, you see, first of all, as Pranav said rightly, he has covered substantial issues. But apart from the universities, in India, the tax itself is taught by the part-timers. And this has to be a dedicated professionals, full-timers. All these universities internationally have a full-time dedicated professors who teach international tax. After so many years, then they join as an advisor to the firms or law firms. And therefore, that sort of a concept has to come in. It will take some time, but yes, our endeavor is to go on that direction. And academy is one of the steps taken for this reason, is this direction. Let us hope we, first of all, create a pool of talents, and those pool of talents create another talents. And then automatically it will spread like a fire.
And in order to cover very widely the facilities of the academy, we are going to start programs where sitting at your home, you can connect with the lecturer giving his lecture in the academy, so that more and more people from all over the country can take advantage of international.
How big is it, the academy?
Academy is about 30,000 square feet of covered area. It is 5-story structure. It is in Noida, very near Delhi. But apart from lectures, etc., we are going to provide some in-house training programs also. Residential courses. We can accommodate at a time about 20 persons in the academy.
That's wonderful. I think that's really great to know. Vadvaji, Ostwalji, Pranav, Shefali, I think we've all had a great time at the conference, and we are looking forward to IFA 2015 in Switzerland, where I'm in Switzerland, right?
I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
I would be completely failing in my duty if I do not give all credit to the entire organizing committee, who has worked extremely hard in making this a success, and my sincere appreciation to all of them for helping us through this whole journey. It has been a wonderful journey.
I think the reward is going to come in terms of having fun on the Swiss Alpines, they call it, right? You're going to be enjoying the Swiss mountains and the snow next year, Ostwalji. And
See, not only that, what Pranav gives the entire managing committee the credit. My sincere credit goes to Pranav. He has done a wonderful job.
surely. Shefali, thanks so much. Next year in Switzerland.
See you in Switzerland.
Absolutely.
I hope you will also come over there.
Absolutely. You can't say no to Ostwalji. Thanks so much, and we will see you all in Switzerland next year. Thank you so much.